I'm Liv with a Girl's Guide to Cars, and this is the Mercedes EQS 450 Plus. So let's check it out. This is a luxury electric vehicle. Now, what is 450? 450 means that this is rear-wheel drive only. If you want all-wheel drive, you have to do the 580. The 450 starts at about $102,000. If you want the all-wheel drive, it starts at about $126,000. This exact version that we have right here is about $122,000. So let's check what you get for that big price. Now, with electric vehicles, you're normally used to having a frunk or something like that, but you don't have that with this vehicle. This is closed, so the only way that we can get in here is coming around the side. You may think that this is for charging or something really special, but it's actually just, ooh, the car's unlocking, for your windshield washer fluid. So you actually pour that into this little reservoir, and that is all you need at the front here. So let's close that up and walk around. Now, what we have here is the Cirrus Silver metallic paint job. And this car, it's a little divisive. It kind of looks a little weird, right? It's got an odd shape, but that is for function purpose. This has a 0.2 coefficient of drag. Fancy term to basically mean that this is pretty much the most streamlined car out there. It is incredibly efficient, and it shows. Let's check the back. Part of that whole streamline deal is that these door handles actually tuck into the vehicle when you're not using them. Perfect. I mean, what do you need them for when you're driving? So this is super streamlined here. You can pretty much count on that every single feature here is to improve the functionality, the streamline, the aerodynamic, including this little swoop here. Now, how do we get into this trunk here? This little secret button right there under the Mercedes-Benz logo. How cool is that? Now check out this trunk space. This is actually kind of crazy because normally I feel like I could reach in and just touch the back seats, but I cannot even get in there. There's so much room here. There's a basket to one side where you can store stuff. There's a little compartment here. And if you come closer, you can press your thumb in there, grab this handle, and easily pull up more space. And inside that we have our Mercedes-Benz 120-volt charger that comes with the car. All perfectly compact, all nicely cushioned together. And we press this button right here and close it back up. Not sure if you can hear that, but the car is cooling itself down. So we're going to check out the charging. So here we have our level 2 charging port, and then below we have the DC fast charging, and it can charge at up to 200 kilowatts, which basically means that the car will get to from 10 to 80% in about 31 minutes, which is really good. Now, this luxury sedan is extremely long. It is over 200 inches long, but it doesn't feel like it when you're in the vehicle, and that is in part due to 10 degrees of rear wheel steering. And we'll show you some footage of what that's like. I feel like you have to experience it if you can possibly, but if I'm to describe it, it's like the rear of the vehicle is assisting you to turn. You can turn on a dime, you can take corners as though it's nothing. You can park in tight spots. So it turns this long luxury sedan into a really nimble and capable city vehicle. Everything about this vehicle is luxury, including the wheels, in the simple fashion that there are a ton of Mercedes logos here as embellishment, almost like jewelry for the vehicle. This front fascia here has similar design cues. We have the little petite Mercedes logo, the bigger one with the camera, the parking camera right below it, seamlessly embedded in it. And then we have this decorative sort of scattering of all the Mercedes logos. So now let's check out the inside. Now, I have a feature set that the car actually welcomes me in and makes it a little easier to get in by having the seat move back. But it's very easy to program yourself. Now, I am number 1, so I just hit number 1, and it automatically starts adjusting my seat and the steering wheel into my perfect position. There's also a feature to do that within the software that we'll show you. Within the cabin, you have a gorgeous two-tone black and space gray Napa leather. You can see the black over here and the space gray over here. You have a dark walnut yacht design. I'm not super sure what a yacht design is, but it looks absolutely beautiful. Everything is seamlessly integrated, even this little console here. You have your cup holders, which actually come out. So if you don't want that there, it's very easy to pull this out and extremely easy to pop it back in too. It fits in seamlessly. In front of that, we have our wireless phone charger. I like to have a little grippy on the back of my phone. I have a chunky case and a grippy because I'm pretty clumsy. And this actually charges on the wireless charger with the grippy case, which is pretty great. I have not seen something charge so easily before. Charging full in 37 minutes. How cool is that? Next to the wireless charger, we have two USB-C charging ports. And close this up over here. Now in front of me, it's hard to miss. We have a 56-inch Gorilla Glass screen. This is anti-reflection, anti-scratch. In front of the driver, we have a 12.3-inch instrument cluster. In front of the console, we have a 17.7-inch entertainment cluster. And then in front of the passenger, we have another 12.3-inch cluster. So the driver and the front passenger both have equal sort of displays that they can play with, and both do different things. There's a ton of customization that you can do with the driver's screen, and it's pretty awesome. You can change it to your liking. So we were in classic mode. There's also sport, understated, navigation only, which is overwhelmingly mappy. And I quite like the sport, to be honest. Now this will also respond when you're driving. There'll be sort of animations that light up, which is really, really cool. Speaking of which, there is a 64 color ambient lighting system in this vehicle, and you can set it so that it responds to your driving. I have it set to operating feedback and multicolor animation. So when you speed up, it turns red. When you're braking, it pulses. It's absolutely gorgeous and super fun. We'll go into that too. I find it really interesting that there are some features that Mercedes kept very simple and easy to use. For example, these air controls are manual. And if you see on the side of the vehicle, you have these aluminum sort of jet engine turbine style manual adjustable controls, which is really cool. And this aluminum color feature is actually carried in and embedded in the walnut. And you can see that sort of echoed in the contrast kind of copper stitching in the leather, which is then echoed in the copper hues along this dash here. Everything is aesthetically beautiful, perfectly done, luxurious and plush, and just so gorgeous. One of the incredibly cool features of this cabin is that the mirrors are visually responsive. So on the side of the door, you can elect if you are editing the positioning of mirror 1 or mirror 2, and then there's a little control. Or you can look at mirror 1 and adjust the area, and you can look at mirror 2 and adjust it. As I got to look at where I'm pressing. How cool is that? How cool is that? Now the Mercedes EQS 450 Plus comes in 3 trims. There's Premium, Exclusive, and Pinnacle. All 3 have heated and ventilated front seats. And you can activate that very clearly from this little heated seat looking icon and then this little fan seat looking icon. But the exclusive trim that we are in right now also has massaging seats. So let's check that out and set that up. We'll hit the home button. And we're going to go to comfort because that is ultimately what this is. And here we have massage. We have a whole list of the kind of massages that we could have. Some of them have a vibrating feature, which is really weird, but the others have this shiatsu sort of knuckle dragging sort of thing, which is really wonderful and almost makes it hard to focus on the road, to be totally honest. We are definitely not going to do any of the hot things because it is a toasty day right now. It's 79 degrees and the hot sun is on us. So we'll just go with a classic massage, and you can initiate that for the driver and the passenger. You can alter the intensity or just make it really intense or not intense. Really feels great right now, to be honest. Now, this is something that the passenger can also do on their 12.3-inch instrument cluster. So that's really cool. You can just say, hey, passenger, I'm driving. Would you set that up? We have all these different seat features. You can set the lumbar support. You can even set the side bolstering. I quite like mine around 5 or 6. It feels pretty great. And adjusting that right now, I can feel the seat loosening up as I do it. It's really wonderful and extremely responsible. responsive. Now, I mentioned before that there's a way in the system to do automatic seat positioning, and that's what's really interesting here, this feature. And as you can see, I press the button and now I am moving. I'm moving. It says I'm short. Interesting. So this is what the vehicle thinks should be the ultimate driving position for me. So far, I have not found to like it very much. So I'm just going to press number 1 and let it go back to my ultimate positioning. Which is not too far off. Nope, we're still going a little far off. Okay, so we won't do that. Now let's go to ambient lighting. And this is so fun. We have color, brightness. You can adjust that in all the zones of the vehicle, and this little image of the vehicle itself does respond, so you can see that adjusting as we touch it in the image above. And we have the zones linked right now, but if you, let's say, you don't want to be distracted in the front, but your passengers want a really bright experience, you can adjust that independently. You know, your kids want or something really colorful and you don't want to be distracted, whatever. This is something that you can do, and it's really fun. And I kind of like that there's a haptic feedback and sound feedback as I'm doing this right now. Now, something that I'd mentioned before that was really cool is that we have the effects. So we have operating feedback, which is when I speed up, it turns red. When I brake, it pulses. It's really fantastic. And there's warning support, and we can look into this further. You have active blind spot assist, and you can see exactly what's going to happen in the vehicle when this happens. How cool is that? Active lane keep assist, and that's adjusting on my driver instrument cluster. And multicolor animation, I mean, we have the red when I'm braking and all that sort of stuff. So if we were to go and elect our color scheme, I quite like the green. Obviously, this is jungle green. You can see on the vehicle how that's going to look. You can even see that in broad daylight in 79-degree weather. You can actually see that, and it's just, as with everything in the vehicle, as with all the materials, seamlessly integrated and looks fantastic. Now let's look at some of the other vehicle settings, because there's a ton. There's an absolute ton. Every sort of advanced driver assistance features, cameras, collision avoidance. There is so much that you can do and so much that you can customize in this vehicle to exactly how you would like it. Creep function, comfort, occupant protection. There's just so much here. But another really cool feature in a different menu, if you see over here, you have sort of the like air quality icon over there. And we can go in here and actually check out the air quality of the vehicle. We can see that the interior air quality is really good. The exterior is pretty good out here. We're in a state park, so it's nice air out here, I guess. But we can start ionization and clean the air inside the vehicle. Not only that, but there is a Mercedes fragrance that is inside the glove box. And we can turn that on. So we have that on 3 now. We're not going to put the air on because it is loud. So we're not going to do that. We're just going to be toasty and normal smelling in the car. But it is extremely cool. And from what I hear, you can get a custom Mercedes scent. How cool is that? You could have your own Mercedes scent. Like, oh, what's that smell? Oh, it's mine. It's my Mercedes. Like, how cool is that? Absolutely fantastic. So you can actually change the front passenger display image. And I think this is really cool because this is a Mercedes concept that has actually been driven recently, and it looks like it shouldn't exist. So I kind of love that over there. You could look it up. It's really interesting looking, but all sorts of cool images that you can set for the front passenger display. And then our home screen, we have 2 options. We have 0 layer and we have classic. And as you can see, it's changing behind us right here. And we'll go back to the home, and this is their classic view. I quite like the 0 layer personally, and now I don't know how to do stuff. Let's switch that back. Yes, lots more going on. Very nice. Hopping into the passenger seat now, you get a very similar, plush, luxurious experience as the driver. You have 3-way memory seats. You can adjust it on the door just like the driver. You have the massaging seats, you have the heated and vented seats. And something that I think is randomly kind of cool is you have this split storage compartment. So this means if you're like me, and I often, if I'm a passenger, I have my arm On this, the driver can press the button and open up their side and get whatever they need out without making you move your arm or without being limited by you. I think that's super cool. Another super awesome feature about the storage area is how big it is, because it actually fits my whole purse perfectly, which is great. Another fantastic feature is that this car has a sunroof, and we have a little sweep of a finger here just to open it. It gives us a nice dose of sunlight, but that is not all. Wow, it's really bright. Once it's done, another sweep of a finger and we can open the entire roof too. Woo! That's pretty bright. You can tell the tinting. Very nice. I think we're gonna close the glass and leave it like that. Now, since I'm in the passenger seat, let's take a look at this 12.3-inch screen over here. Everything that you can do on the passenger screen, you can do on the driver's screen, but the driver's screen obviously, or the main center console, has way more options. This is simplified, but you still get a ton that you can do. And one of the cool things is the sound profile. So if we go into system, we'll go down to audio here. Now we have a fantastic Burmester surround sound system. It sounds incredible. And there's a lot that you can do with it. So you can do 3D surround sound, you can do pure, or you can do a personal sound profile. Not to worry, because we can actually do this on the main screen too. So let's go in here to settings. Let's go to system. Let's go down to audio, and let's go to entertainment and mess around with our personal sound profile here. So you can actually drag it around. Do we want it bass heavy? Do we want it to be brilliant? Unfortunately, because we can't blast music right now, we can't really do that, but I feel like you get the gist of how much you can do here. Bass characteristics, you can jump between neutral, soft, warm, punchy. I'm sure they all sound fantastic, and I know I'm going to enjoy trying it. And then you can sort of understand the difference between 3D and surround sound. So it tightens the sound around you and surrounds you in the seats, which is quite cool. So many options here. Such a fantastic sound system. So that is this passenger seat, but let's check out the back passengers now. All right, here in the back seat, I sat down and I sat right on this little pillow, which is actually the pillow that's attached to the front headrests. Now, if you're like me and you have poofy hair, then this will squish your hair. So fortunately, it's Velcroed and I just pulled it right off, but it does create quite a comfortable sort of like relaxing spa situation for your hair. Here in the back seat, there is tons of room. You have your child seat fixation on either of these two seats. The middle seat actually has a headrest as well. So this is quite large, definitely large enough for 3 people or 2 large people, 1 smaller person perhaps. This middle area here is really cool. So we have our elbow rest. You press it one time and you get this little smaller storage, pen storage, not sure what we call it. You give it another little push and you get your cup holders, which is super cool. And then we can just shove that all back in there. Really nice. The rear of the seats have this sort of fancy airplane style storage, which is really great. You have access to seat controls, climate controls, and your own manual vents and everything. There's a ton of ambient lighting back here. And like I showed you in the front, you can separate that ambient lighting so that the back gets their whole own experience too. And the rear seats also have their own removable padded headrest areas. So let's hop back in the front. Driving this car is like a dream. It has adaptive air damping suspension and it feels like it. It feels like you are driving on a pillow of air. It is absolutely cushy and luxurious. Now, I have a unique situation. I am a right leg amputee, which means that I'm a left leg driver. So I have to drive with my left leg crossed over my right. Now, the Mercedes EQS has quite a large center console that is a bit invasive in the driver footwell. So my knee is pressing up quite hard against this. It's not super great for me, and I think that in the long run, this wouldn't work super well. So if you have a rare situation like me, this might be something that you'll want to test out for yourself. Another really cool feature about driving this is the heads-up display. I'm looking right now at the speed that I'm going and the speed limit, and it's beautiful and seamlessly integrated in the road in front of me. It is not distracting at all to me. When you have navigation going, the heads-up display also interacts with your navigation, and you will see the turn in front of you on the road. It's truly fantastic, and I think it makes it really hard to get lost or lose your way, miss a turn, anything like that. The Mercedes EQS has a fantastic, it has voice activation. Hi Mercedes, I don't need you right now. Okay, hopefully she's quieted down now. So there's voice activation, you can talk to it, have it do things, whatever you need. But a special thing about this cabin is how exceptionally quiet it is. However, I'm sure you can tell that the air is on, and the air is not quiet. It's fantastically effective, and I feel wonderfully cooled. It's 82 degrees Fahrenheit right now. The hot sun is bearing down, but it's quite loud. So you have this really lovely quiet cabin, but it's noticeably loud with the air on. Hey Mercedes.
How may I help you?
Turn the fan off.
I'm switching off the ventilation.
Much better. And that's pretty cool. So something I talked about when I was outside the vehicle is that 10 degrees of rear wheel steering. We're gonna find a nice little quiet spot where we can demonstrate that. I feel it just driving around, but maybe you'll be able to see it. We'll document on the outside of the vehicle. It's kind of crazy. I think we'll go in the middle over here. So we're in a quiet parking lot right here, and we're just gonna do a donut, and literally you could probably drop a dime on the ground, and we're turning in a parking space right now, basically. Is that not crazy? That's absolutely crazy. Another of the amazing features about this vehicle is the parking cameras. We have a full 360-degree view, and you can switch between a whole bunch of them. So we're gonna go and pull into a parking spot right now. And you can see that on the camera. It's indicating our exact line to get in, as I'm completely off, but that's okay. And we'll select the view. We can look in front and see how far away the front is. And if we want to get closer, we can look at the side of the vehicle, the rear. Is there anyone there? There's small children or anything like that around us. And you see this little icon here. We can mark this as a saved parking spot. So now the GPS position is saved, and the camera will switch on automatically in the future. So if this was our home and we're pulling in our work or whatever, it's always going to start guiding you like that into the perfect spot, which is super cool. And once we're in this view, we can actually move around it, check everything around us. What do we think? We think, Liv, you did a terrible parking job. And we can see that very clearly, which is super cool. Well, that was a great drive in luxury. I've had a fantastic time with this vehicle. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. Now, when this vehicle was dropped off at me, it was at around 100% battery, and it had over 430 miles of range. This is a 107.8 kilowatt hour battery with an EPA estimated range of 350 miles. So real world, this is absolutely crazy and totally overperforming the EPA range. Right now, we're at about 80%, and we have 373 miles of range. Phenomenal. This vehicle is absolutely incredible, the top of its class in luxury, super comfortable, and clearly very long range. What do you think about this? Let me know down below. Check out agirlsguidetocars.com for a detailed article on this and all the other stats. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye.